Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX, and I'm joined by my friends to talk about some baseball. First, I'm joined by our social media goddess, the one and only Michaela Perkins.
Hello, back again. You can't get rid of me now.
Oh, she's here. Yeah, we fed her and we let her in, and now she's ours now. That's how this works. But also joining us, of course, is my vice mayor and my friend, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
I'm just devastated because we don't have baseball today, and that just doesn't feel right.
It's weird.
It doesn't feel. It's a weird day. Weird. I don't know what to do with myself.
But I will say this: if there was any team that needed a day off, don't you think it's the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I was gonna say, Jesse, I kind of feel like it's a good thing they're not playing today. We don't have to watch them.
Well, I just think they definitely need a day to maybe get their shit together. But of course, this show is brought to you. We got our shit together here. This show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code of PHNX and get down on the NBA play-in action. Bet just $5 and get $150 in free bets instantly for betting on any team. Don't worry about winning or losing. You'll just get that money instantly. Guys, of course, we have more bad news. The Arizona Diamondbacks lately wouldn't be the Arizona Diamondbacks without injuries, just holding this team down. Right now, what we're looking at is Luke Weaver is now on the injured list, and Zac Gallen has been scratched from his first start, which would have been this next game against the Astros, due to a cut on his thumb. Nothing major, obviously, nothing that's going to impede him for the long term, but something that, once again, it's like how many small to big to medium-sized injuries can stack up for Zac Gallen.
It's never ending with this guy. I feel like I turned my back and he's on the IL again. And I'm just like, wait, what the heck just happened? You were fine 2 seconds ago. I just don't. I think he either has the worst luck in the history of Major League Baseball and he's seriously pissed off the baseball gods, or he's more fragile than a China glass. I have no idea. But this guy, I just don't understand why he can't stay healthy. Like, come on, bro.
Well, and I mean, again, we're glad this isn't some sort of aggravated injury of his shoulder like what we saw the bursitis during the offseason.
Yeah,
that was what my bigger concern was when I heard that he was going to be scratched, and then when I find out it's a cut on his thumb, it's menial, but again, it's just
like one thing
annoying.
after another.
It's such a Diamondbacks thing to happen. It's not. It's like they can't. It feels like nothing is going right for them already. And again, this might be I feel like the ongoing phrase here is the old wounds that are still healing, but it might be that for us. Like, it feels already like this season is going the way that last season went.
Do we know how the cut happened? Like, is this like a kitchen incident, or maybe they didn't want? Because that's not really a natural part of like being a pitcher, that like you just get cuts on your fingers,
on your thumb.
That doesn't,
right?
On your thumb. That doesn't really flow naturally from being a major league pitcher, as far as I'm aware. So I'm curious. But when the news first came out, I think a lot of people were mortified because we didn't initially know the full story of what was happening here. The initial reports were just that Zac Gallen is scratched. And of course, the sky was immediately following for a number of people. Fortunately, a cut on the thumb is about it's about as much of a best case scenario as you can possibly have in that situation. So he should be out there this weekend against the Mets. And at the end of the day, a couple days isn't really going to make much of a difference.
Derek, I'm going to need you to run down to Chase Field, find Zac Gallen, wrap him in bubble wrap, and do not let anything touch him until he's in New York.
We should just keep him at the studio. Like, is there a spot in the office where we can just make it Zac Gallen's room?
Look, we'll kick Espo and Saul out of their office, and we will make that the Zac Gallen containment center.
There we go.
I mean, we'll find some. I don't know. We'll get him soft edged toys to play with, and
we'll bring him
he's
food.
Not allowed to change the channel on. That kind of stuff. We got to protect him at all costs. I don't know. I feel like kind of with this series too, it's something that we have seen, right? The series, just things weren't going the Diamondbacks' way. Errors, even things that weren't errors, that were plays that guys normally make. They weren't sharp defensively. They weren't turning double plays. There's just a lot of things to work on, and this team right now just overall doesn't, not only doesn't look sharp, but they look like, again, all the bad things are happening to them.
Yeah, it's definitely a little scary. I'm not going to say I'm super thrilled with how the season got off to a start, but I'm trying to not freak out. I'm trying to keep myself in a realistic place.
I got a comment for you, though. I got a comment for you for Mr. Grimm. We have the same amount of wins as the Dodgers. So, hey, shout out to the Rockies. Jesse and I ridiculed your team, Patrick Lyons, for picking up Chris Bryant, and maybe they weren't so crazy to go out and do that. Colorado Rockies are looking excellent right now, and, again, hats off to them for that.
Anytime we can make fun of the Dodgers, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's just feels right. I was gonna say I feel like that series against the San Diego Padres this opening weekend for the Diamondbacks. When I was writing my article here recapping the weekend, I really came to terms with the fact that as much as you try to find positives in that series, other than the Seth Beer heroics, it was like there's almost nothing. The bullpen was fairly bad. Mark Melancon and Ian Kennedy are the two most important pieces down there. Neither of them looked right. The offense was 15 for 116 to start the season. It doesn't get a whole lot worse than that. The starting pitching, we only had one pitcher make it through 5 innings. And the defense, Merrill Kelly looked pretty good. Yeah, he only got through 4, but yeah, he was effective at least. And Zach Davies was pretty decent too. Caleb Smith, not so much, but and then there's the defense, right? And that was kind of a disaster throughout the weekend as well, as the Diamondbacks totally got outplayed on that end. So for everyone, pressing the panic button already after 4 games and talking about how this team is the same team they were last year, I don't think 4 games is enough to say that for sure, but these 4 games certainly didn't help us think otherwise, right? Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much every bit as bad as you might expect. And if it weren't for that Seth Beer bomb on opening day, I mean, you're looking at basically the worst case scenario for an opening series. The Diamondbacks easily could have gotten swept.
Well, our buddy Nick King at Nick King Sports tweeted out, "It is early, but the Diamondbacks' 15 hits are the fewest in baseball, despite playing one more game than 22 teams. The 129 team batting average also ranks last."
Yeah, so that's pretty rough.
Hey,
Lordy.
There's only one place we could go but up, right, Jesse? Right? I said that. I said we hit rock bottom last year. Oh boy, I might have been wrong about that.
Their team batting average is 129.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of walks, though. I think as of yesterday, they were second in the league in walks because they drew, particularly in a couple of the games in the series, one of them being Sunday's game. They just drew tons of walks, even though, they weren't necessarily getting a whole lot of runs across. So I guess that's worth something. Torey Lovello talked after the game about how, he admired the patience and he liked the approach and how they were grinding out at bats. And he seemed to think for what it's worth that things would turn around soon.
Here's the thing. They were last. They were one of the worst teams last year in pitches per at bat. Right. So that's you can tell it's a learning process, right? Like they've adjusted, but they've almost overcorrected, right? Where they're taking a lot of walks, but they're not putting it together with production. They're not putting it together with the hits. And I think that right now is where they're at. That's why I guess I'm still just a little cautiously optimistic that, they're going to put things together here. Certain parts that we didn't think were going to work well have worked well, like Zach Davies. Some of the guys defensively have been really good. Just, again, what we're seeing out of this team is a similar team-wide slump that we saw last year, which is probably the most concerning part about it. And I don't know when we panic, but I don't know. It feels like every day I'm opening the little crystal box and I'm looking at that button and wondering if we should push it. Now we do have Bumgarner on Tuesday and Merrill Kelly on Wednesday, and I feel pretty good about those guys. But what do you guys think about them now starting on one shorter day of rest, which really isn't, because this weird day off today on Monday when we're recording this is a day they should normally have a game. Like they would normally have a 3-game set with an opposing team that started today and ends on Wednesday, like this 2-game series with the Astros is going to. But now we have Bumgarner and Kelly not really missing any time, but now starting one day earlier?
I'm not too excited about watching Mad Bum pitch again, especially one day
That's
early.
fair.
I just I'm having a hard time finding excitement in the idea of watching Mad Bum pitch. Yeah. And I think the fact that it's one day early isn't going to play to his, isn't going to be good for him. I hope I'm just being extra pessimistic, but he threw 68 pitches when he debuted, and 42 of them came in the third inning.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a great opportunity for him to redeem himself if he's got anything left in the tank to kind of make it through more than 3 innings. Now would be the time to kind of kick it into that gear and kind of, make the rest of us not as concerned as we all are about him as a pitcher. But I can't say I'm feeling too great about that.
I actually think that it's might, I don't know, help to get him on track, but I feel like what we're seeing still with this pitching staff is, them coming out of spring training still in spring training mode, right? That's why the pitch count is reduced. That's why the 46 pitch inning, which probably would have ended his night regardless of if it was now or at any time later. I mean, that's just a lot of pitches to throw.
Yeah.
So I think Lovullo probably would have pulled him regardless of what his end pitch count goal was. He was coming out of that game. I will say that at the very least, neither one of those guys had terrible outings, Jesse. And I'm more excited to see them get kind of in a regular rhythm where we can't have these excuses about pitch counts and such. Sure. Once we get to their third start, then I think we're out of that range of the spring training thing being an impact on their longevity.
Yeah, Mad Bum certainly needs to bounce back in this one. He just didn't look particularly good across the board in his first start. Even those first couple innings where things were promising, he wasn't really getting any swing and misses. It was pretty much fly outs and a reasonable amount of soft contact. It wasn't like he was getting hit all over the place, but there was really no part of that game where Madison Bumgarner was dominant. And unfortunately for him and the Diamondbacks, the Astros have a much better offense than what the Diamondbacks just saw with the Padres. Maybe not much better. That might be a slight overstatement. Obviously, Carlos Correa isn't there anymore, but they still have some pretty darn good hitters, and even their pitching staff. It's insane how they can lose guys, and it just feels like their lineup and their starting rotation. Obviously, Justin Verlander is back this year, so the Astros they're just the team that you just can't get them to go down. I don't know how they manage to come back year after year like this, but the Diamondbacks still have their hands full in this 2-game series with them.
You're absolutely right about that. And yeah, it's names that people might not recognize, but names that have been very, very good for this Astros team. Now, before we move on to that, I did just want to let everybody know to go sign up for our website at gophnx.com. Jesse has an excellent article up on the 5 takeaways from the opening series, and you guys can get down on all of the wonderful content coming out from gophnx.com. Sign up to become an annual member, and you'll get yourself a free t-shirt over at the PHNXLocker.com. And we just launched our PHNX Rattler design. It was our special shirt drop from the Ainsworth. We got it out there for you guys. Now you can pick it up at PHNXLocker.com. So if you sign up to become a member, grab you that shirt. I love it. It's one of my favorite designs. So get down on that over at PHNXLocker.com. If you're not interested in the annual membership, we totally understand. We want you to still join us. So try us out, get your month-to-month membership, and you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. That way you get a little appetizer of PHNX, and that way, you can't leave once you join our family. You'll get members-only discounts over at the PHNXLocker.com. Not to mention our members-only Discord, where we're apparently playing bingo thanks to Josh Hunt, and we're giving away prizes. So that's what's happening in our D-backs members Discord.
Are we going to make bingo happen? Is it going to happen tomorrow?
We got to make it happen. So we'll figure out a way logistically to make that happen. And for anybody who wants to take part, we'll do it. We'll do it. But I'm also playing, and if I win, you guys have to send me a present or something. That's the way that this works. It works both ways. Anyway, Mr. Grimm says, positive note, Hummel's first hit was a homer, even more of a positive since there was no one at the game. They easily found the home run ball, benefit of playing for the D-backs. That you got me because it started out nice and then it got mean. But we love Cooper Hummel here at the PHNX D-backs podcast. He's our guy for sure. And it was excellent to see him get that big first career hit. Like how amazing is that for it to be, your first hit in Major League Baseball to be a home run. I just couldn't even fathom the excitement about that.
The reaction of his family that the Diamondbacks shared on social was so cool.
Yeah,
it was so
great. It was great.
It was really great. Very heartwarming. But taking a look, like you said, Jesse, at this upcoming Astros series. Right now, we have Mad Bum going up against Luis Garcia and Merrill Kelly going up against TBD. But it looks like per their rotation, it's going to be Framber Valdez. That would be the next logical start, who was very good in his first start against the Los Angeles Angels. Went 6 2/3, gave up 2 hits, striking out 6, walking 1, really good pitching. And Luis Garcia, this will be his first start of the year, but he was a critical part of their postseason run last year.
Luis Garcia is really good. And Framber Valdez is really good. And all these players who play for the Astros, whose names you've never heard, they're probably really good because that's just how this organization seems to work. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how the Astros maintain this level of performance, even as they've lost a number of key pieces over the years. But Chris Melton makes a great point. We also don't understand if you're not interested in the PHNX membership. What are you doing with your life at that point?
It pays for itself, actually, if you really think about it in the long run. I don't know how, but it does. Just saying. Pays with itself with enjoyment and entertainment and D-backs news, because that's what we were bringing you all year long. And of course, that's the thing here is that taking a look at this objectively, we want to be happy about the D-backs, but right now it's very hard to be. Merrill Kelly was very good in his outing. Again, another short outing for starting pitching. I'm not concerned about either of these guys, but at the same time too, neither of their outings, I think, were bad just due to a short pitch count. And they weren't bad, but neither of them were very efficient. And I think that's my bigger concern. Merrill Kelly had 7 strikeouts, which is kind of uncharacteristic a bit for Merrill Kelly, but so is the higher pitch count, which the two go hand in hand, obviously. But, that's a concern right now, is efficiency for this starting rotation. It's hard to find a guy that can go 6+ innings and give a quality start for this team. And Merrill Kelly has been the one guy that last year was able to do so.
Yeah, Merrill Kelly is definitely a big part of just the longevity of the rotation. He was kind of their innings eater last year, and he might be in a pretty similar spot this season, just given some of the innings limitations that some of the D-backs other starters are going to have. Merrill Kelly is really the one guy who's, consistently over the last few years made most of his starts, at least. So he's gonna be huge, and Madison Bumgarner. I mean, getting through more innings is going to be key for the Diamondbacks as well. At this point, I think we all agree that Mad Bum is not really a top of the rotation starter, and so a lot of his value comes from being able to go deep in games. If he's not going to have a sub-4 ERA at this point in his career, there's still a lot of value in a guy who can go out and go 6 or 7 innings. Even if they're average innings, even if he's not necessarily performing like we've seen him do in the past. So I would love to see Mad Bum, work a little bit deeper into this game as well. But yeah, I mean, coming off a 3-inning outing, it's a little bit hard to say what that's going to look like this early in the season.
Mac, any concerns there with their efficiency at all with you, or do you think this is just early season,
I don't know. I was actually sitting here thinking about it, and I was trying to rationalize why we're seeing this type of performance from the pitching staff. I was like, well, they had the shortened spring training. Maybe they're just not, all the way loose yet. But then I was like, well, we also got almost destroyed by Yu Darvish, and Manaea looked incredible. So they had the same amount of time in spring training as the Diamondbacks pitchers did. So I'm not quite sure if you can make that excuse that they had a short spring training and maybe they're not stretched out. I don't know. I'm having a hard time trying to rationalize why we're seeing what we're seeing from our pitching staff when we just saw the complete opposite from the Padres pitching staff. Obviously it's different players, different talent, but I don't know. I think, like I said before, it's Mad Bum's time to show us that he can at least get us through 5 innings, hopefully, ideally 6. And if he can't this game with the Astros, I think I'm starting to worry a little bit more about Mad Bum's ability as a starting pitcher at that point.
I'm going to say this. I think that, to me, I was expecting too much too soon from the pitching staff. Not from the pitching staff, from the coaching staff. Excuse me. I think that this coaching
I can confirm. Derek was convinced that like day 1 of the major league season
was going to be like that. It was going to be
all of the problems would be solved
Jesse's
because of Brent Strom and Joe Mather.
But I mean, when you really think about it, again, the shortened spring training, yeah, whatever. They're still new coaches. They haven't had a lot of time with these guys. They haven't had a chance for what they've talked to them about and worked with them on to carry over. Brent Strom walked into a meeting with Zac Gallen when they met prior to the lockout with a file folder already on him that he had compiled, right? That's what kind of coach he is. So I don't think it's a matter of the coaching staff not knowing what to do with these guys. I think it's a matter of, that knowledge they're passing on, that information they're passing on, actually carrying over and clicking. It's not instantaneous. It takes a while for, I think, that kind of stuff to help make these guys better. Initially, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of stuff going on, not to mention the self-doubt and the lack of confidence and, having things go where when the rest of the offense isn't going well, each guy kind of feels that need to get 4 hits and 1 at bat. And you have just a bunch of guys, once again, much like stretches of last year, each guy trying to do too much, And Chris Mountain says, our enemy, time. Yeah, in every way, both for members of our bullpen and right now for getting these guys prepared. I will say I am not very optimistic about this series with the Astros, but I am kind of excited to see.
They can split it. If they can split it, that would be big. You really don't want to be 1-5 to start the season.
How do you guys see this going?
Demoralizing.
What's your prediction?
I think Merrill Kelly will win his start. That's what I think.
Okay. So Mad Bum lost, Merrill Kelly win. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I feel more confident that Merrill Kelly will win his start than Madison Bumgarner will win his.
I mean, if there's an opportunity for them to win, it's going to be, I don't know.
Valdez, so
I think it would probably be against Garcia because he hasn't had a start yet this year. So maybe they can take advantage of the fact that he's just got to get his feet underneath him to start the year. But I mean, he finished second in AL Rookie of the Year voting last year for a reason. And he finished the year with a sub-4 ERA too. So he's an incredible pitcher. The only opportunity I see for them to win is either to take advantage of the fact that Garcia hasn't started yet this year, or to hopefully ride on Merrill Kelly's shoulders on Thursday or on Wednesday and hope that they can capitalize on a really good start from Merrill.
This all isn't great, but of course, we'll see what happens when it comes to...
I will say as far as my prediction goes, I think the offense is actually going to score some runs in this series. And I'm not necessarily saying they're going to, put up double-digit runs or something both games or anything like that. But I don't know the Diamondbacks don't need to have the best starter the better starter in every game in order to have a chance to win, right? This is baseball, and crazy things happen, and sometimes you score 7 runs on an ace in the first inning. Like, these sorts of things happen. So I have a good feeling about the Diamondbacks offense getting back on track. What exactly that looks like remains to be seen, but I think they'll split the series, and I'm going to be bold and say that the Mad Bum game is the one that they win, and the Merrill Kelly game, I'm going to say that's the one that they drop. So I've got them splitting the series 1-1.
Thanks for getting me something. Shane just walked into the office with food for literally everyone except for me.
Who did?
I've been here all day.
I didn't get food, to be fair.
Oh my God.
Got excluded, you guys. It's fine.
No.
Well, I have plenty of OGs to share, and I know that's not really something you should be filling your belly on, but of course it's It's our partner, and we're excited to be a part of the OG's Brands family. OG's is one of Arizona's first original scratch-made cannabis kitchens and is dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. And no, you shouldn't skip dinner and eat a bag of OG's. It's a terrible idea, but I will say only because edibles are not a one-size-fits-all product, which is why OG's is proud to offer a wide range of products for all demographics and preferences, and they are delicious with their tropical flavors, which include guava, strawberry, kiwi, raspberry, orange, and pina colada. I really love their orange creamsicle gummies because it's amazing, as well as it was like a blackberry and cream one that we had in the office as well too. So definitely check out our friends over at OG's. They have they have a way to spice up your life and give you some variety and some flavor in your life. If you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG's Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OG's near you. As Michaela says, you go with the indica, you'll have yourself the best sleep of your life. If you go with the sativa, you have yourself a fun afternoon. Again, watching cartoons with on mute with rap music playing. It's the best to do. But anyway, you guys go have a fun time either way over at ogsbrands.com. Guys, it's Monday, and I know this is I know this is going to be loud, and I apologize now to all of our
it is going to be loud.
But it's Monday, and of course every week here at the PHNX D-backs podcast is Shark Week, and every day is Earth Day. But on Mondays, every Monday, we go to the mailbox.
Always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox. And then once in a while, there's a letter that makes me go, wow, my mailbox.
Yes. Again, thank you to our dear friend, Mega Ran, for that wonderful jam. And we are doing Mailbag Monday right here in the chat. We're doing it live. Actually, though, I do want to address a question that came up in one of our tweets the other day that I said we would be discussing. And it comes from one of our Twitter followers, Gabby Dearth, at _real_Gabby, asks, genuinely don't understand how they keep going with we're going to compete, meaning the Diamondbacks. Who do they think they're fooling? It's a bit insulting to my intelligence. And I think I can understand people feeling that particular way just because of like he said, the verbatim that, they don't really ever want to call it a rebuild. They want to call it a retool, or they want to say we just need to add some pieces, but we still think that this team can be competitive. Yet still at the same time, in the same press conference, they will also say that their time frame for being competitive looks to be like 2024, right? So I don't know what you would call this otherwise, but I think that what they are in is still in the middle of a rebuild. They don't have guys right now that they can count on and trust. They've committed to a couple of guys. They've committed to Merrill Kelly. They've committed to Ketel Marte. Both guys, I think, no matter their faults early on, I think are solid guys to make a part of their core and commit to for the long term. But this consistent calling it, not a rebuild seems to be a bit ridiculous at times, considering where this team seems to be at right now.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I understand being frustrated with the phrase we're going to be competitive. And I totally get that. I just lived through another similar situation in Denver when I was with our sister station at DNVR in the Rockies, because their owner likes to say the same thing. We're going to compete. Yeah, with who? I mean, I get it. Sure. I think a lot of the times when people say that, I like to call that just managerial speak or like athlete speak, because athletes have like their go-to phrases. Yeah, it was a great time. I love my teammates. Like, it's just a generic phrase that they're going to say. Like, they're not going to come out and say, yeah, we're going to suck this season, because then if they say that, nobody's going to come out to the ballpark. Like, you want to, I don't know. I feel like it's just generic managerial speak to try to cover your bases and make it seem like you're going to do everything you can to provide the fans with an entertaining season. So I don't really put a lot of stock into that. And also, like, I think we're going to compete this year is so subjective. Like, okay, what are you competing with? Who are you competing with? Because if you're trying to compete with the Dodgers, y'all ain't competing for shit. Like, you guys aren't even going to come close to competing with the Dodgers. Are you competing with the Rockies for not being in the last place in the division? Because then you're going to be competitive, because it's going to be you and the Rockies fighting it out for last place in the NL West. So I guess it's just a subjective phrase that you can decide to apply meaning however you want to in your life.
The Rockies right now are kind of out of control. And honestly, I think the one thing all three of us could probably admit is we're like waiting for them to come back down to earth a bit, right? Like, what is that with a baseball team? And when you get when you catch fire early like the Rockies have, I mean, who's to say that they don't have that unexpected, successful season like the Giants had, right? Perception is that we as fans, I think, are always going to be cynical, because it's easier not to put hope into a team that doesn't seem very good and then get your heart broken. But deep down inside, every one of us, no matter what team, what laundry you wear, what team you root for, I think deep down inside, you want them to do like what the Rockies are right now, especially if it's a team that isn't expected to do much. You want them to, just kind of stick their finger up at the world and say, we don't care how bad or good we were supposed to be. Right now, we're very good. And in our minds, we can win a series against the Dodgers. We can go into Texas Rangers and beat on them. And they have this brand new team that they just put together that's worth that they added $500 million worth to. There's a lot of positivity, but again, it really comes down to the success of the team, right? They say those cliches, and if they don't follow through, then they look like chumps. But if they do, then all of a sudden they look like geniuses that predicted that this mediocre team was going to be better than we all thought.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't think the Diamondbacks are rebuilding. And I know people may be angry at me for saying that, but I don't think this is a rebuild. Rebuilding would be trading Ketel Marte instead of extending him.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think they're rebuilding either. I say they're sitting and waiting. They're holding themselves over.
Yeah, they know that they have this farm system, one of the best in the game, top 5, probably top 10 at least, depending on who you talk to. And yeah, they're not rebuilding. The Diamondbacks haven't really traded away many key pieces at all. Other than, of course, Paul Goldschmidt was the big one. But he would have been gone in free agency by now anyway. So I don't really view this as a rebuild. And I have to be honest. I've been in pretty much all these press conferences with Mike Hazen, and I really don't think that anything that Mike Hazen has said is very off base. Mike Hazen has been very upfront in saying like, hey, we know that making up 30 games in one season is unrealistic. The Diamondbacks have not tried to give the illusion that they're actually going to, overtake the Dodgers or anything this year. And when they say, we're going to be competitive, like Max said earlier, competitive is a very generic word, and it doesn't really mean anything. And that's why they're able to use that word, because they don't want to promise that they're going to make the playoffs this year. They just want to promise that, hopefully they're better than they were last year. And I think we can all agree that whatever competitive does mean, it means be better than the team was last year, because that's not competitive.
At least win 53 games this season.
Yeah, at least get to 53. Then we're in okay territory. But I really am not put off by anything the Diamondbacks have said up to this point. I think they kind of know where they're at. There's a reason that Mike Hazen has been very self-critical in a number of the different press conferences that we've had. He knows the situation. He's very self-critical. You're never going to hear anything from Mike Hazen that sounds like he's pumping up stuff that he's done. He's not that kind of a guy.
Mike Hazen will be the first one to tell you, I know, I have a mirror, right? Like he totally is
right. He's very self-aware.
Of the trades that he's made that's worked, how things are being perceived, where they're at.
He's not going out there signing dumbass contracts like the Rockies are. At least be thankful he's not spending ridiculous cash.
That's really what it comes down to. And like when he's talked about not blocking the young guys from coming up, right? I mean, they sound committed to that, and I understand that. But there's also the aspect that they, the mentality of baseball players are so different than any other sport, right? You could have all the talent in the world, but all of a sudden not believe deep down inside you can hit a baseball anymore. And guess what? You won't ever again. Like, you'll never hit a baseball at a major league level ever again if you don't believe in yourself, and that's something that can get shook very quickly if you come up too early and you start facing pitching you don't know what to do with, and again, lose that belief in yourself. That's something that's beautiful about the D-backs farm system is Reno does nothing but build belief in these young guys. I think the problem is that it's kind of like a daydream that you come back down to reality when you get to Chase Field versus hitting in the friendly confines of Reno. Giselle asked in our comments, hey, my question is this team ever going to be healthy? No.
That's a great question, Giselle.
No, the answer is no.
Good God, no. Lord help us.
I mean, I don't think any major league team is ever like fully healthy, but yeah, it'd be nice to not have, Josh Rojas and Nick Ahmed and Jordan Luplow and Luke Weaver and Zac Gallen not all go down.
Go ahead, Jesse.
It'd be nice if that didn't all happen at the same time before we've really played any actual games yet. So
here's the thing that here's my question for Mailbag Monday. Do you think that like Luke Weaver's injury impacted his ability to be named as part of the starting rotation? Because if that's the case, then we're looking at essentially got two guys that would be starting pitchers on the or injured right now, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's Derek Montia's speculation, but it feels like if he's injured, I don't know. This seems like the kind of injury like they put him in the bullpen to see if something that was bothering him was, how bad was the discomfort, and now it's to a point where the discomfort is bad enough that he's having a hard time pitching.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I don't have a reason to think that Luke Weaver was removed from the rotation because of a potential injury, but I will say that in his first outing of the season, when he came out as a reliever, he was not throwing hard. He was like 91, 92, and he normally, is 93, 94 as a starter. And I expected that to tick up coming out of the bullpen. So I did think that something was a little off in his first outing, and it seems likely that this injury was probably connected to that.
Yeah, I can't rationalize putting Caleb Smith in the starting rotation over Luke Weaver. So
it just doesn't work. And it's like, it sucks because here's the thing. You're good at that thing, man. The thing you're good at, you're good at being mad about not being a starter and coming out of the bullpen. And unfortunately,
wow.
Well, I'm saying, like,
no, Derek with the top rope.
Caleb Smith is never coming on the show.
Right?
No, I don't even want to go to the clubhouse anymore after saying this. But I'm just saying, no, I'm not. People are good at certain things, right? And so, like, I don't know if maybe the pressure as a starter is too much for him, and the difference of him coming out of the bullpen is he has just a different chip on his shoulder about it. He was very angry about not being a starter, and he wanted to be a starter, and he constantly talked in press conferences and press availabilities about wanting to prove that he deserves to be a starter. But I'm just talking, I'm not even like, hey, you suck at your job. No, what I'm saying is the numbers say he is not good as a starter, but he's very good as a reliever. That's what the numbers say, right? So, like, again, there are things in life that I didn't want to do, but my boss thought I would be good at. So I did it, right? So that's the point. Like,
know your role.
One time I worked at a ski shooting place with guns, and they decided that the
terrifying mental image.
They decided to put me as a ski setter, which means I was actually actively on the range where people were pointing guns at in a small concrete barrier, putting little clay pigeons on a machine that slung them out for people to fire weapons at and destroy. See,
that's an incredible job right there.
They were like, we know where your talent lies. This is where we're putting you, right? That was an assessment by my bosses on what they thought I would be good at. That made me feel bad as a person.
Target practice.
What happens sometimes?
Didn't you worked at like a veterinarian office or something, right?
I've had a million jobs, Jesse. I've had 1 million.
Wow. So in one job, you were like, carrying around the pets after their surgery and making them feel comforted. Correct. And in the other job, you were preparing pigeons to have their heads blown off.
Well, they're clay pigeons. They're not real pigeons, But
okay.
Yeah, let's see, they're not actual birds.
They're not real pigeons.
All right.
However,
better.
There was a giant metal sling blade thing that I had no control over, and it was my job to stick my hands in this device and put a new clay pigeon in there. So if you have an idea of how terrible that job was, I just wanted to complain about the fact that I had that job one time. I really feel like that was the point of my whole story. But sometimes we get jobs that we don't like, but people feel like we're good at. Brandon Buckingham asked, how far are Thomas and Carroll, Alec Thomas and Corbin Carroll, from major leagues? And I don't think Alec Thomas is very far away at all. But again, I think I just gave a few minutes ago my reason why the Diamondbacks probably don't have him on the roster right now is he wasn't doing great in spring training offensively, and they probably want him to get some more time in the minors, just getting some reps. And
they both have a 2022 projected debut year, right?
I don't know about Corbin Carroll because he's still in double A's. So I don't know double A.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he is gonna make it this year, but
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew Alec for sure was supposed to be this year.
Yeah. Alec will be up this year, I think. He hasn't started very well in Reno. And it's only a few games, so it's nothing to worry about. But I think they'll wait until Alec Thomas is, knocking the cover off the ball down there, which it probably is only a matter of time. Corbin Carroll, I could see as a September call up. I would be pretty surprised if it's anything sooner than that. But he is at double A. And I mean, if you're a good player in double A, then you're probably just about ready for the majors. We've seen the Diamondbacks skip the triple A level with a number of guys. I think Dalton Varsho skipped over triple A, if I'm not mistaken. So it's certainly something that we could see them do.
Alex Murray in our comments says, I feel like most teams will use the first half of April as the end of spring training. If pitchers weren't ready, keep them in the pen or limited to finish prepping, right? But the Diamondbacks don't really feel like they had any, like everybody kind of felt like they were on the same path except Zach Davies. And let's be honest, Zach Davies had the best outing of anybody in their first go through in the rotation. So Jesse and I both kind of figured Zach Davies was going to have the shortest outing. And instead, he proved us wrong when it comes to preparation. I really think once again, though, it was like what we were talking about. It was his efficiency. He was far more efficient than Bumgarner and Merrill Kelly were. And
he shut me up real quick. I was not expecting nothing from him. And he was like,
he did a great job of just getting outs.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the difference was at one part, it felt like Merrill Kelly was going for strikeouts. And like it didn't.
Yeah, which was kind of fun, honestly. Merrill Kelly probably shouldn't go for strikeouts because that's not really who he is. But I was like, this is cool. He's like striking out like every other hitter, even if he has 75 pitches after 4 innings. Who cares? This is this is fun to watch, right?
All right. Nick Sutphin just gave us the best question, and that is, if you could replace one current Diamondbacks player with any one former Diamondbacks player for the entire year, who would it be? The former player is going to give you a prime year performance wise. How is it not Randy Johnson? Right?
I think that's the only.
How am I not?
All right, but who are you replacing? Who are you nixing?
Smith out. I'm adjusting the rotation. Randy Johnson goes to 1 in his next start. He's going to need to warm up, I'm sure. He's going to need a few backlot games before he's ready. But are you kidding me? Who am I taking? Who are you guys taking?
Fernando Rodney.
Get out of here right now.
Yes.
How do I remove her? I remember her in the chat like that. That's how she's gone. She's gone. Out of here.
Put me back. Love that.
Okay, but let's be real here. This Diamondbacks team, the Diamondbacks might need a closer at some point this season. If Mark Melancon, if what we saw in that first outing was what it seemed, which I don't know. In that first game where Ian Kennedy and Mark Melancon both pitched, I look back at it. Neither of them got a swing and miss in 42 pitches combined between the two. They were just not. There was very little that it was effective about either of those guys. So I know this question was meant to be like lighthearted and fun, and here I am.
Yeah, but, you're really bumming me out now. I don't like this. Who was your selection? Are you going with Fernando Rodney too?
Yeah, of course. That was all about to say Fernando Rodney.
I'm doing the show myself now.
Just give them all. Give them all to me.
The Diamondbacks history in the bullpen is very sad.
Atrocious.
And even if I was to try to pick like the best reliever they've ever had, I mean, Brad Ziegler, Byung-Hyun Kim, Matt Manti, Jose Valverde. Like the options are JJ Putz, I guess, was pretty good for a couple years there.
JJ Putz.
That's yeah.
That
was fun.
I have
yeah.
Brad Ziegler's shoes under my desk right now. Don't ask me why, but I do. His cleats. Anyway.
Wait, what? You just have Brad Ziegler gave you his shoes?
Well, I mean, yeah. Like, yeah. See, these are Brad Ziegler's cleats. They're autographed somewhere on them too.
Wait,
I do a lot of stuff, Jesse. I'm around the team a lot. Okay, I have a lot.
You mean you have the same type of shoes that he has, and he signed it for you, or you mean you actually took the shoes off of Brad Ziegler?
These went into the locker room, found his shoes, took them, and ran away.
Yeah, this is from the one where they dressed up with the they had the Patriot. I think it was like the Armed Forces game or whatever, where they have like the camouflage on. Yeah. I have a lot of stuff. I have Brandon McCarthy's nameplate from his locker up here. Don't even ask me why I have all this stuff. I have a lot of stuff.
How they let you in the clubhouse, Derek? I will never understand.
It just ends up at my house. Stuff. I can't tell you how or why. It's fine. But we want to tell you guys that if you want to strike it big, you got to go over to the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Get down on the NBA action because, of course, now is that time of the year. The play-in tournament, which the Suns don't have to worry about, will get you $150 in free bets by betting $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the play-in tournament. That's code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, like I said, the Phoenix Suns aren't there because Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA. Shout out to Espo. Also, Lakers not there. Looks like the Suns will match up against another Los Angeles team, which that's not great, but it'll be fun to bounce them. But you get down on your $150 by betting $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the play-in tournament over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. That's promo code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over only, Arizona only. Gambling problem, dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And yes, that's all we got. We're back. Are you starting the wave next? Because I think people are mad about
I'm sorry. I love La Flecha. I can't help it. I'm a psychopath. I love drama. No, just kidding. I actually hate the wave. I'm so anti-wave. I mean, I guess it's fine if the game is really boring, but like if there's a pitcher's duel going on and like a no-hitter and you're doing the wave in the inning, I'm going to kill you. I will literally walk over to you, shove you down, and make you sit in your seat.
This is the rule. Right? Like that's the part that really frustrates me. It's 4-3. Why are we doing the wave? This is a good game. Everybody sit down in your seats and watch the game. Stop worrying about standing up right here.
More than ill-timed wave.
Tendon injuries you can get from throwing your arms up in the air like that. Most of us have no business doing that. We don't properly stretch. Come on.
Don't let Zac Gallen do the wave.
No, Zac Gallen, no hitting, no wave, no anything.
Zac Gallen probably break his wrist.
He's not allowed to do most dances. He's not allowed to do the gritty. He's not allowed to hit any of that stuff. No, Zac Gallen.
He must take the bullpen part every single time he goes anywhere.
Ban the wave. Worst thing in sports. Watch the damn game.
Yes,
Chris says no reason for the wave. How is something so universally reviled still part of this? You know what it is? It's casual fans. Ban the shift, ban the wave from Alex Murray. I completely agree. I have said the phrase ban the shift like 15 times already in 4 games. It's terrible, especially when you tell Martin
learn how to hit.
Anyway. Final thoughts. You guys got anything going in this Astros series? Are you concerned yet? Is this exactly where we're at? I think I skipped this question, but before we go, I think we should ask this one by Brandon Buckingham. So does thoughts on over/under change after the first weekend? I'm still around 68 to 70. That's Brandon's word.
Derek, if you change yours by like 15 games after one series, I'm going to lose
like
all
I should
respect.
change mine.
What did I say? Did I say 61? I said 61. I'm sticking there.
Very pessimistic about.
I'm sticking at 61.
I'm sticking with 82 and 80. I'm sticking with it.
You're insane.
I am. I am.
75 is where it's at.
Jeff Bannister has me ready to run through a brick wall, right? Okay, so like that dude, he makes me understand the game of baseball more than I ever have, but at the same time, I mean, literally, again, he could he could coach my life. He could bench coach my life because I'd listen to anything he says when it comes to life, baseball, and everything. But Alex Murray says under 62 wins. So he's right there with you, Michaela.
Alex Murray, you're my new best friend.
I don't know.
But no, I'm not pushing the panic button yet. It's too much of a small sample size, and I know it doesn't look good, but I think hopefully they'll be able to work some kinks out, and we'll all be okay. We all can sing Kumbaya and hold hands around the fire.
Michaela already pushed that pan. I mean, 61
yeah, she did it
I don't know what, like, I don't know who's predicting anything lower than.
The button's talking. No, it's gonna be fine. Everything's fine, everybody. Nobody panic. Nothing to see here. Well, everything's fine.
There you go.
Well, thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Of course, you can follow us all on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse and Friedman. Michaela is at Michaela E. Perkins. And of course,
middle
our
name
show's at PHNX_DBacks. But all roads lead to at PHNX_sports, where Michaela will happily invite you in. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, if you're listening right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, subscribe to us there. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on the YouTube as well over at the PHNX Sports YouTube page. Subscribe and sign up for notifications. That way you not only don't miss our show with our post-game shows and all these live shows we're doing. This is my, 5th one in a row, 6th one. I don't even know. I've lost count, but I love doing it, so I don't even count. But you don't want to miss our show or any other shows coming from the PHNX Sports crew over at PHNX Sports on YouTube. We thank you again so much for checking out the show and being here with us to vent and ask your questions. This was a fun live Mailbag Monday, and hopefully we can do it again next week. We thank you guys again for your time. On behalf of Jesse, Michaela, and myself, we appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you can bet on it.